Review of some 3D printed parts from an eBay company or an eBay guy who sells things on eBay. So I'm going to go over each of the parts individually. These parts are all 3D printed on a 3D printer, and they're linked to this guy's stores in the description box below if you'd like to check it out. So all of these things have one thing in common. They are all hooking onto in-strike rails, meaning they'll only work with Nerf guns, not like Busby or off-brand things, because that thing is a hook design in order to fit onto a rail system to attach whatever you want onto the different Nerf guns. So this one actually holds a laser pointer. I do not have a laser pointer to fit this mount. This is my only laser pointer. It's this super awesome one that actually lights matches. This is an epic laser, but obviously not going to fit in this little baby one. If you go to like gas stations, you get one of those cheapo laser pointers that's going to fit. They're generally similar size. The only downside of a mount like this is a lot of those laser pointers are button operated, so you push the button to turn it on, so you'd have to kind of loosen it in there, have it off, and then shove it through to get the button to deactivate or activate, and then it's on all the time instead of like a push button switch. With something of this price value and this price bracket, you can't expect too much out of it. But yeah, that's the concept there. I've only experienced a few different 3D printed parts, but this is actually the lowest quality one I have seen. It's incredibly grainy, and you can see very clearly that this has been 3D printed. It does not seem like a professional plastic part, like something that was injection molded, like a lot of Nerf products, like a lot of plastic in general, because it's a very clean way to produce a product. That white residue was not from me, that came on the part, and you can actually see the little grains because of it. And it's just not, it doesn't feel as professional. It feels homemade, which it was, but you don't really want that in a professional product. That is just my opinion though, so that's the laser pointer mount. Up next is a little sight post. This one's white, so you can pretend you're actually aiming. One point of aim is actually not sufficient to get any type of sight picture. You would need two in order to line them up, otherwise you could just be looking in at an angle, and all of those are essentially pointing at the same thing, even though your blaster barrel is going to be shifting, if that makes sense. But it's going to look pretty cool, so it slides on in the same way. All of the attachment methods here are the same. This attachment method is flawed just in its design, unfortunately. It friction fits onto the rail by just being a little bit smaller than the rail, so you really have to cram it on, which is great because it's strong, but it is incredibly difficult to get on and off. And over time, I'm sure this is going to wear out. My little integration brackets already have worn out a little bit, so I would no longer feel comfortable actually using this in a Nerf game. And if you want to apply these to a painted blaster, you're going to scratch the paint off of your rail because it's just such a tight fit and so much friction. It's essentially driving a knife across your rail, just scratching off a layer of paint because of this friction. The next part is the integration bracket. So what this is simply a rail adapter on both sides. So you're attaching two rails next to each other. And as you can see, that one slides on really easily because it's a little worn out. I've used the integration one, and this one doesn't even hold anymore because it's just too loose, giggity. I've only attached this to like 4 different blasters, and it's already worn out because of the design, I mean. So ideally this bracket's going to be spread apart further, but it's going to take me 10 minutes to get it off, so I don't really want to do that for the sake of a video. But what it's going to do is secure one blaster to another through the rail system. So it can be any rail to any rail. That allows you to integrate whatever combination of silly stuff you want. Like this, I would not recommend this in the game because it seems a little impractical, but if you wanted to, you could. And once it's on, the first few times the bracket is pretty strong, so it's going to hold the blaster. Once you start taking it on and off, the plastic's going to loosen up a little bit, and then it's not going to be as secure. I would recommend spreading these brackets out in order to have the further point of contact there for more stability. This is just for the sake of example. And that slid off a little too easily, as you can see. So in a game, I would not have trust or confidence in this component. Otherwise the blaster might come off while I'm shooting at people. The next thing is a GoPro mount for a camera. This is my GoPro here, and with the plastic case it does have these two little teeth down here that usually go into an adapter, and this is what this is supposed to do. It's supposed to attach in and then connect onto an in-strike rail to get gun view, which would be a really cool concept. However, this adapter is not printed or drafted, or for whatever reason it's not the right dimensions at all. It's not even close. So the dimensions are simply too far off. I'm not sure if his 3D printer just doesn't print to the right accuracy tolerances used necessary for something like this. I'm not sure, but it won't work. Also, mine did not include a little nut here, and how the GoPro thing works is you have to shove this through and then screw it into a nut on the other side. Mine didn't come with a nut, and this hole is actually too small to the point where I had to like re-thread it in order to even get this through. So cool concept. I would not recommend the GoPro mount. Perhaps after a revision of design it's going to work better, but right now it doesn't work as advertised, so I would not recommend that. And the last thing I was sent is a Mega Dart holder here. So these things slide on to, again, in-strike rails. All of these things go onto rail systems. And once it's on like that, you can get your Mega Darts and shove them through here, and it holds extra ammo like that. So now you have extra mega darts on hand if, of course, this is not a mega gun, so this isn't really helpful. I don't have a mega gun on me right now. So then you can quickly pull them out. Fit of the darts here is not perfect, but it's not terrible. If you really like mega darts and you feel like you need 4 extras, perhaps try this product. Again, super grainy 3D prints. I am personally not pleased with this cosmetic work here. But it is a functional option. Personally, I would rather have the darts flat like that and very, very close to the gun, like the Rebel. That Heartbreaker bow thing came with a little ammo holder, and a few others, Nerf blasters in the past, have had the ammo holders very close to the gun and this way, rather than like way popping out from the gun, because if you bang this into something, you're going to snap this off, you're going to lose your ammo. Which is unfortunate. So overall conclusion, unfortunately I cannot recommend purchasing these components for my own opinion and what I'm looking for in products like these. I think the integration brackets are just too loose. I think all of the attachment methods just loosen over time to the point where it will no longer hold whatever you're trying to attach. If you're holding something rather valuable on your Nerf gun, you want it to stay still and you don't want it to slide off. I certainly don't mean to be negative, because it is a really cool concept. I'm looking forward to future 3D printer owners outputting cool Nerf products for the consumers, because they can be relatively low cost, and they can be customized specifically for the Nerf products. Anybody who wants to engineer in CAD something and plot it or print it can make a lot of money doing cool stuff like this. However, I don't think these products are really there yet. I can't really recommend them because I personally wouldn't use them, and that's kind of the line there. I don't want to make a review and just say everything is awesome. I need to be honest. And I can't recommend these. Keep in mind, this type of attachment method is not advisable to anybody with a 3D printer. It works temporarily, but it's going to not work over time, and that's why Hasbro uses a spring-loaded tooth system. Springs can revert back to their set distance. Something like this, once you bend it a little bit, then it's completely out of whack, and then you've ruined the component. If you stress apart too much, if one of these things is hanging off the gun, you smack into it, it's going to break. Something like this is just going to flex a little and come right back. So spring-powered stuff like this is the way to go. The attachment tooth here, hooking into the rail system, is going to make it more secure than just friction. Otherwise, you have to tighten it on with way too much force, like I have done, and you're scratching paint jobs and you're doing all of that. So this is very low profile, very cheap to make, but this attachment method is definitely better than something like this. Of course, that's just my opinion and my conclusion personally. So yep, that's the review of some 3D printed parts from eBay, a particular guy. Again, if you want to check out these components, he does have a few other components. You can check out his web store or his eBay store, link in the description box below. Thanks for watching. Other blasters like the Strife, or the circuit will shut down. For the Demolisher, however, that's not really required. I did take out the electronic resistance, but the performance didn't actually jump because of that. It's mostly just the batteries. However, taking out